Hey guys, Akil here. In today's podcast, we're going to talk a little bit about personal growth and dealing with adversity and how that can help you become a better person. But before we get started, make sure you do me a favor to support this show. Share this on social media. If you're listening on Apple or iTunes, give this a rating and a review. We're growing at a massive rate and I want to keep it going. And that only happens with your support. So keep it up. I love you guys for it. And let's kick off today's episode. Hey traders, Akil here. Welcome back to another episode of the Trading Coach Podcast. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about growth and adversity and how adversity really causes growth, or at least it should. I guess many people don't use it that way, but for those who go on to become massively successful, they do. And this was a cool story that I got from a trader that I work with. She shared it on her Instagram stories. I was going through stuff last night and there was talk about a lobster. I'm like, this looks interesting. And I clicked ahead and read. I'm like, this is genius. So Naomi, thank you so much for the inspiration. I've never heard this kind of analogy before with lobsters and their shell and adversity, but I found it to be really cool. I hope it's true. I'm assuming it's true. But if not, it makes for a really good story. And I want to share it with you guys. So it starts off by saying this. I'm going to read you through it. It says, let's talk about lobsters and adversity. And of course, there's a cool little lobster thing, a little image below. A lobster is a soft, mushy animal that lives inside a rigid shell. That rigid shell does not expand. As the lobster grows, the shell becomes very confining, as you can imagine. The lobster finds itself under pressure and very uncomfortable. It casts off the shell and produces another one. As the lobster grows more and more, the same process happens over and over again. The stimulus for the lobster is to be able to grow. The stimulus for the lobster to be able to grow is that it feels uncomfortable. If lobsters had doctors, they would never grow. Because anytime they felt uncomfortable, they would go to the doctor and get some sort of medication to feel better. Or maybe go out clubbing, drink a little bit, forget about their issues, or do something else, anything else that allows them to distract themselves from the reality of their situation. And it would never cast its shell. Times of stress are signals for growth. And if you use adversity properly, you can go through it. And then she kind of goes on a little bit of a rant and says, I say this because everyone is always moaning on my relationship, on my friends, on my parents. I'm not built to this. I'm not built this way. I'm not built to do this. I'm not meant to do that. I grew up with no money and, whatever excuse we can think of. This happened to me years ago and it's my excuse for every decision I make, right? Example. I'm sure you guys have friends out there that have all the excuses in the world. Well, she says, this may sound harsh, but listen closely. This may sound harsh, but no one really cares. Everyone has stuff going on. It's not just you. Just get on with it, leverage it to the best of your ability, and grow through such times. I'm not trivializing people's experience, but it's just the reality. When you accept something as reality, it's very easy to just get on with things because you cannot argue with the truth. It's just facts. One of the things I personally say all the time, I love when I get into discussions or arguments or heated debates and I'm equipped with the facts. It's the best weapon you can have, right? There's no second guessing yourself. When you are equipped with the facts, there is nothing that can defeat that weapon. And that brings so much confidence. Then she said she shared a very interesting quote by Sigmund Freud. Said, most people do not want freedom because freedom involves responsibility, and most people are frightened of responsibility. And that is so true. We were talking about this with our clients the other day about being scared of success, right? I was sharing a story about myself and about really my best friend and my former roommate who got me into Forex trading, right? He's the one that introduced me into Forex trading. I was doing stocks before. He said, hey, there's this Forex thing. It takes less money. You can make more money. And I was sold, right? Just like that. Like many of you guys, sold on the get rich quickness of Forex trading. I was a pretty good darn stock investor, so I was a little bit cocky and said, okay, well, this will be easy. I'll just do the exact same thing and just make more money in less amount of time. And obviously, many of you guys know my story. I struggled for years and years and years doing all the wrong things. And eventually, I got to the point where I decided that I needed to get educated. I needed to get educated. And when I got educated, I found a mentor and I signed up for a course, which was about, I think, $3,000 or $4,000. I got it a little bit late, so he gave me a discount. So it might have been about $3,000. And I got started in the course. I'm like, this is awesome. It has everything I need. It's structured. It's organized in a way that will allow me to progress. My mentor was there. There was a support system, all the stuff that you need to find success. So I went back to my roommate who was trading as well. And I'm like, hey, man, you got to check this out. Said, this thing is awesome. You got to check this out. We got to do this together. And our goal was, we were slightly different traders and really lived slightly different lifestyles. I'm more of a morning guy and not a night type person. He is more of a night type person and not a morning or day guy. So I figured that with the Forex market being a 24-hour market, we can just cover the entire market. I could take the morning shift, maybe like a 5 to like 12. And then he can take kind of the night shift, come back in the overnight, get the early London and whatnot. And we cover all the main sessions. And I remember that after he wasn't allowed to get into the course, my trading mentor, Jason Stapleton, didn't allow him in because he had a rule which said that if it's going to basically take all of the money, all the pennies in your account to sign up for my course and you don't have anything left to trade with, I don't want to be the person to take your last dime. So he kind of said, hey, come back next year when you save up some more money. And then you can join the course. So after my roommate told me this, I said, hey, well, you know what? I'm taking the course anyway. Let's just take it together, right? I have the material. We can learn it together. You can come up to my office, which was basically like a little 5-foot area away from my bed. It was, I lived in a single room. You can step into my office. We can join the live sessions together. We can join the Q&A together, and we can both learn. And never, ever did he ever join me? Not one time. Not the first time and then kind of flaked off after that. Not a single time. And, at the time I just thought, people are lazy. And that could be a little bit with it. He's hardworking dude, but not the most dependable person in situations like that. But it made me think about success, and the chat that ensued in the live room for this made me think a lot about success and how people are afraid to put themselves in positions to become successful because now the pressure is on to become successful, right? We always talk about this 80-20 comfort zone, right? 80-20, 90-10, however you want to distribute it. But most people are inside this circle called the comfort zone where they just get the very minimum out of life. And again, I'm not saying that you have to get out of that comfort zone. If you are fine with living a life inside that where it's safe, it's comfortable, you get just enough, but maybe not much else, that's okay. Everyone's different. Not everyone has those dreams. But if you're someone that talks the big game about, I want to achieve financial freedom, financial independence. I want to travel the world and do this and do that and live my dream life. I don't want to work for anyone else. I want to work for myself and be an entrepreneur. You got to get out that comfort zone. That stuff doesn't come in there. That stuff does not happen inside the comfort zone, right? All those bigger dreams happen beyond it. But when you're in the comfort zone and everyone else is not doing anything to really chase that massive success, it's really easy to make excuses, right? You can go, I wasn't born into money. I didn't have a proper education. I never was taught that. I'm not tall enough, not strong enough. I don't have the genes. My mom and dad, right? Whatever excuse we'll make. And it's easy not to become successful because when we make excuses, there are hundreds of other people inside that zone making excuses as well. So it's like you just kind of fall in line. But outside that comfort zone, no one cares about your excuses. All that matters is the result, right? I don't care if you had a bad day, right? Many of you guys that watch sports, right? You root for your favorite team, right? And one of your favorite players stinks, right? Have you ever cared if he had a bad day? Maybe he broke up with his girlfriend, or maybe this happened, a kid's sick, there's something on his mind, grandma died, right? Do you ever think about that and be like, well, maybe he's playing bad because of that? No, you don't care. You just want the result. You don't care about his excuses. He's a professional. That's what he gets paid to do. And we're the same way outside that comfort zone. No excuses. Let's just get the result. But as long as you're not put in the position where you're supposed to get that result, right? There's no pressure. As soon as you announce yourself that, hey, I am doing this, as soon as you put yourself in that situation, like, hey, here's a free training course. Everything you need to be successful is right here. Now, if you don't become successful, that's all on you. There's no more excuses. You can't say, well, I didn't have the training. I didn't have a mentor. That's why I didn't do it. No, you had all of it right there in front of you and you didn't do it. So if you fail, that's 100% on you. And many people don't want that pressure. Many people do not want that pressure. Earlier in the day, there's another quote that was kind of circulating. I guess I got tagged in it on the Twitter. And it was from Richard Branson. It said, if someone offers you an amazing opportunity and you're not sure you can do it, say yes, then learn how to do it later. And I'll tell you what, that is the story of my life. I responded, I said, I can't count how many times I was scared to do stuff. And I look back now, the best decisions in my life all came from situations where I was scared shitless, right? I was scared to death. Many of those situations, I actually pushed back making the decision because I was so scared. I think about my first real estate investment property, excuse me, pushed that back about a year because I was so scared. Even when I finally pulled the trigger, like I feel like someone literally was holding my hand and making me sign the papers. Didn't want to do it at all. Scared. Best investment of my life. Especially when you kind of realize that that's what started the real estate business. Same thing with trading. Placing my first trade, my first stock investment, buying my first stock. Scared to death. Did it. Got my foot in the door, ended up loving investments, loving the financial markets. Pulling the trigger on a training course. Saying I'm going to invest money in myself, right? Before I was just kind of winging it and doing it, and I can make all these excuses in the world. Oh, the markets are out to get me. It's my broker. It's the this, the that, right? As soon as I had a training course and I had someone that was successful telling me how to be successful on my own, I knew that the pressure was on me. If I didn't do it, I have no one to blame but myself. Now, I did spend years blaming everyone else still, but eventually I had to look in the mirror and blame myself. Scared to death to do that. Not because of the money, not because it was, hey, $3,000. I knew in my mind that, hey, investing $3,000 now to make multiples of $3,000 later, that's a no-brainer, right? But it was the fact that I had to accept that now the pressure is really on me. I couldn't blame others. Even going into trading education, many of you guys don't know this story, but I never planned on being a trading coach. That was never a plan of mine, right? I actually turned down, I was asked to coach about a year before I started, and I turned it down just because I didn't want to. A little bit scared. Who am I? I just became a consistently profitable trader. Who am I to teach others how to do that? I was scared. I didn't want the pressure. I didn't want the pressure of someone learning from me and maybe making some dumb mistakes because I told them the wrong thing. Scared. But eventually did it. It led to us really creating the Tier 1 trading platform, which is the best trading educational platform out there. Recognized in Forbes magazine, right? Never would have happened. Never. Forbes, right? Crazy. Crazy. Never would have happened unless I took that leap. So we always say that you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And I sort of look at things as the opposite now. Like, I get scared if I'm comfortable. If there's ever a day where I'm just getting comfortable, I'm sitting down, I'm just watching some football all day, and I'm like, man, this is a comfortable life, I get worried. I'm like, crap, I should be doing something. I like situations now where I'm uncomfortable. because it means that something big is about to happen. When I'm in a situation, it could be in a trade, it could be in a race or an event that I'm doing, it could be the last set of a workout, it could be a business meeting, it could be a business decision, it could be an investment opportunity, right? Doesn't matter what it is. When I start to feel uncomfortable, when my head says, Akil, I don't know about this, that's a big green flag that says, yeah, you should do it. You should do it. Because great things come from taking action when you're uncomfortable. Great things. And if you trust yourself, you trust the abilities that you have, and you trust really your environment, your supporters, your surrounding people that are going to feed you positive energy and saying, yeah, you got this, or people that you can reach out to and help, right? You got this. Amazing things can happen. You'll figure it out. I was talking to a buddy of mine yesterday, and he's looking to put together really a success summit for youth, right? I know you guys, you know I do the trading thing, I do the coaching thing, but very involved in the community, especially with the youth. I came from a situation where there weren't a lot of hopes and dreams of becoming successful other than, sports or drugs. So anything I can give back to younger individuals and just kind of get their mind on the right place early in the game is a positive. And he reached out and said, hey, I know it's early, thinking about doing this success summit for youth. I have a few people that did TED Talks that I want to bring in, and what do you think about it? And as soon as I read it, I'm like, success summit for youth, another thing to my plate. What am I going to talk about? I don't hold myself at the same level as these people that did TED Talks. These are like geniuses, and I'm just, me. And I'm like, soon as I felt that little nervousness, that uncomfortableness, I'm like, yeah, I'm in. What am I going to talk about? What I'm going to do? How am I going to match up? I'll figure it out when I get there. Commit first, figure it out later. And I know me personally, when I put myself under pressure, I perform the best. When I put myself under pressure, I perform the best.